Nation, happy Monday! Happy Monday, Easter Monday. Happy Monday. Hope you're doing well. Monday is my mentoring day, so spending the day mentoring my team. I have been. It's such a beautiful day here in Toronto that I experimented with doing my calls outside. So my mentoring calls I did while I walked. I did what? How many steps? 23,000 steps while I've been doing some mentoring calls. But taking a break here midday to chat with you guys and bring a special guest in to have a conversation. The Jan Show. Let's bring her in, see how we can bring some value today on a Easter Monday. I just sent you the invite. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. We're going to have some fun. There she is.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm great. So Jan joined my Movement Makers program for a year. So exciting. And as part of that, we do an IG Live together. So how can I help? First off, where's home for you?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, great. I love it. And give us some context and how I can help.
Well, I have always done everything in person. So everything is new to me. I am of the older generation, so I have to figure out everything. So um, I've always worked in the beauty and the health industry. I started out with hair and have done behind the chair. I have taught a lot of people in schools, well-rounded platform, all that over the years, and raised children in between and ventured into doing that more, which you know how that is. You had your last 2 weeks with all of
Yeah.
that. But I have added on doing skincare and helping people. Really, I'm in the state that still want to work with young people, but I'm not wanting to go into the schools again and develop programs. And also, not as much young people, I don't think, anymore, as people that are 50 and above that start moving through um, learning how to do more self-care to feel good about themselves.
Great. I love it. And I love the birds too. Those birds just what an energy that they bring to the call. I love it. I'm jealous. I'm gonna have to come down to Georgia and take
Oh,
in the
it's beautiful today. And I had to work out here because my daughter um, moved in for like just 3 weeks before she moves to New York City. And so she's working from home. So I was like, well, this is beautiful.
I love it. I'm jealous. We're all jealous. We've had our first nice day in Toronto for a while because in Canada it's obviously a lot colder than Georgia. But anyway, I love the birds in the background. Cool. So
Help
what?
me
Yeah.
think like, okay, I've been studying. I'm in overload on studying everything and
Hmm.
redefining myself. It took me all of the pandemic to just be isolated and redefine.
Hmm.
And then I've been looking at different programs and taking them and studying, and I'm almost in overload. I loved your session the other day when you talked about, because I'm so creative and so multi that everything I've read, I said I need to center and everything like that. But it's hard for me too, because when you were talking about having your passions and working around that,
Hmm.
all my passions do kind of go together. But I don't know. I don't understand. I understand YouTube to go find something like, because that's what, when I'm trying to understand Canva and all of this, that I'm not, I was an artist and a teacher, but da 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 da. And then I had people that if I needed some little PowerPoint, I'd give them the things and they would be in the office and put it together. So,
Well, let's start with like, what are you ultimately trying to sell? Where do you want to guide people? You want to do coaching? You have a program, products? What do you want to sell?
well, I, I, I had not thought about really coaching until I had listened to you, because that's what I've done all my life. And hair was actually just a vehicle, because everyone that sits in my chair or that I teach, you end up in their life. And
Yeah. It's a
and
psychology session. Like the great hairstyle. You're a psychologist. You're not just cutting
uh,
hair.
but I also have wanted to add, because I don't want to just do the physical anymore, because I want to be able to travel and work. I
Hmm.
mean, like, not just build what I do with my hands and live here. And I have been using a company that's an MLM, but with the skincare and the devices. And I have sold some over the years, but people have also just pushed word. I'm always pushing to be out of the box of what people think I should be. It's, I mean, because like, but that, and they don't, and I've studied and learned and I've done, because I'm I'm old, but not mentally, but in the years that I've been on this earth, I am. But I don't think I am. I, you know, I always had even more energy than the kids in the school. And I want to promote that, but back to the skincare thing, sometimes people would buy them and it's $200 just for the machine. And then every 3 months you get a new head, la, la, la. And it just makes a difference. It's so easy, 2 minutes in the morning, 2 at night. And people won't use them. And so then as I sit and talk, people, they complain about things, but they don't take the time to have the self-love, really. It's self-care equals self-love. So that's my mission, like in the starting point, because it's worked for me. And I literally have changed my health like over these years.
So you're actually using the same product yourself?
Oh yeah. Anything that I say I have to do,
I love it. I
because,
agree.
you know, that's, and I'm just, and there's so much philosophy with it. Last year, I gave up dairy. Huge difference. I don't care who does dairy. That's okay. But sometimes until you give up something, you don't know how much better off you are.
So one of the biggest problems in MLM, people ask me what do I think about MLM, and it's just a business model, and it can be a great one. The biggest problem is that most people don't actually use the products or services that they're selling. Most people, which is why I asked the question, because if you can't tell a genuine story about the product, if you wouldn't recommend it to your daughter who's with you for a couple of weeks till she goes to New York, like if you wouldn't feel comfortable using it and telling the people in your life about it, then don't try to sell it to strangers, right?
No.
So your story will be a key part of it. And I love your whole package. Like I love that you continue to break the norms and step outside the box and learn new things and do Instagram Live. And I love it. And I think a lot of people would look at that and say, oh, it's possible, right?
Exactly.
A lot of people.
You don't
like,
have to get old. I mean, you do, but you don't.
No, but I think it's a great message.
Yeah.
And then everything that helps around that, which could include the products and services, but other things that you're doing, other practices that you're doing, whether it's hanging around young people or going on Instagram or consuming YouTube content or signing up for programs, like whatever you're doing that keeps the energy high. Because a lot of people I'm 40, a lot of 40-year-olds might be jealous of your energy and what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's a great, it's living that life and explaining how other people can as well. And for people who want to join you on a journey, it's like, well, here's what I do to do it. And maybe
I'm making notes.
Hey, I like it. I love it. So maybe part of that is, healthcare routines. So you can make a video talking about dairy. You can make a video about stepping outside comfort zones. You can make a video about even the fact that you were on the training that I was doing, talking about how to grow a social media following, a lot of people feel they're too old to do that. So I mean, that's for the kids. I can't do that. But here you are studying and learning and trying to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
That's an inspiration.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many 25-year-olds message me to say, Evan, is it too late? Is it too late? Is it too late? Should I just give up on my dreams? Is it too right? So
that's my heart.
And listen, now that I'm older than them, I say, hey, I'm 40 and I have more energy than I had when I was 25. So I think there's a lot. I think it's just showing the behind the scenes of what goes into making this possible. So it's not. So it feels like it's achievable, that it's attainable, that it's just a mindset shift and some habit shifts that people need to do. And then inside of that, whatever product services that you use, like the hair products, whatever, that can be a part of it. It becomes just as when somebody is coming into they were coming into your chair to get their haircut. Why I said it's you're a psychologist is because the best hairdressers, you're part of their life. They come in and tell you their stories. They may come and tell you things that they never told their husband or their best friends, or I mean that. So you have the ability to get people to connect with you, which is fantastic, and you can do that in a virtual world as well. It could be like this, where you're talking with people. I think the key is then, when they leave the chair, they go back to their life, and things start to fall apart again. Until the next time they come and to see you. But that may be they're not coming every day and getting their haircut again. So that's where people will buy the tool, but then not do it the next day.
Right.
And not follow through. And then they feel like, oh, well, this was not a good use of money, time, or I can't do it, or it's harder than it looks, or whatever reason they come up with in their head for why they can't do it. But they bought it, but they're not using it. And that's where the ongoing, whether it's coaching, and you're actually, like everybody who bought one, you should follow up with in a couple of weeks and say, hey, how you doing? Not even just like, are you using it, but how are you doing? How are you just like you would as somebody comes and sits in the chair, you're going to ask them how things are going. Yeah. And you'll discover things. One of my businesses, we do virtual dance classes, and every 3 weeks, Alex, who runs the company, he's calling everybody who's taking a class to ask them how they're doing.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I understand.
that extra bit of love from you.
Yeah.
It's not some technical thing. It's not like, oh, I don't know how to turn it on, or I don't know how to adjust the head, or I don't like. It's an emotional mental block. So that could lead to a coaching business.
Okay.
Because they trust you, like you, know you, want to spend more time with you. You're the only one who's giving them, who's listening to them, who's giving them a safe space to share these things with. You're not going to judge them for whatever they say back to you. And that's really important. Like even just giving somebody.
I've actually done a lot of that I've had students when I was in the cosmetology school that I would hear, and they would break down, and I'd hear their tough lives, and I would call them. I'm one girl. She would get off work and have to be there on Saturday, and I wouldn't work on Saturday, and she would leave her work at 3 a.m. and park in the parking lot and sleep till she was supposed to be. She still wouldn't get to work on time. I was getting to school on time because she'd fall asleep in the car. And I started calling her at 7 and saying, walk in there and go in there and brush your teeth. And I got her out of school. So I'm used to it. I just have never made it a business. It was just a part of my life.
So, well, that's great. I mean, like the best businesses are when it's a part of your life and you just naturally enjoy and love doing it, as opposed to, oh, okay, now I'm putting my work uniform on and I'm going to this job, right? So that's great that you're naturally doing it. The key is to design a business model around it, which could be actual coaching services where they pay you a monthly fee for you to talk with them once a month and help them. And for some people it might be help me get to school on time. For some people it might be help me with my relationship. For some people, it might be, how do I have energy? Like you have energy. Different people will have different issues that they need help with. But if it's not the actual coaching, why say business model? Because it could be around the products. So if part of them buying the products, it doesn't help you if they buy a product and then they never use it.
Use it. Oh, I agree.
Right? I mean, it doesn't even feel good, right? Like you want to feel like you're having an impact on their lives and you know this product can help them. And if they're not using it, that's a problem. So the coaching could also be part of the business model. Could be, hey, they're buying the hair products or whatever else you're going to sell. That's only one example of what you could sell. But you also get me as a part of it where, hey, once a month I'm going to do a check-in on you and see how you're doing.
Yeah, I like that. A check-in.
Check-in to see how you're doing, to see what's up, to see how it can help. And you can even frame it around the product itself, but most of the call won't be about how they're using a product. Right. Most of the call will be you just being you and showing up for them and serving them. And the end result will be them using the product more or maybe buying something else that helps them. But the goal is to serve them, not just to sell them. And if they're... Go ahead.
The product is just a vehicle to help them with their life.
Yes. Yeah, you just need a business model around it, whether it's actually selling coaching services or selling the products and supporting them with the coaching services, because if they're using it, they're getting the benefits. They're going to tell their friends about the benefits. Their friends will just see it. Like, hey, you're happier now. What?
Yeah.
Past 3 months, like you've become a lot happier. What happened? Like, oh, well, let me tell you about Jan.
That's how I always, when I was building a clientele, that word of mouth was always the best way. And the young people laugh and say, "You did it such a different way," because they advertise a lot on Instagram with their stuff and everything. And they said, "I'm Miss Jan." Miss Jan, here in the South, it's like, you did it such a different way. And the world is different. It's good. But I think combining the new and the old is what makes it really work.
Yeah, and word of mouth is it's still the most powerful. It's still, if you have a ton of people out there saying great things about you, it's still the most powerful compared to, an ad campaign. Advertising is great I see it as gasoline. If you have a fire, it can explode the fire. But if there's no spark, if there's no fire, you're just pouring gasoline on some damp logs. Nothing's happening.
Okay.
So I think with your charm and charisma and your experience, and you've heard so many stories and helped so many people over the years, I think it's just a natural evolution. The key is just to design a business model around it.
Yeah, okay. So do you think that it's okay? So for whenever I can, because I'm now studying out all about YouTube and creating a thumbprint and all these little details that are over my head at this point. But would the Jan Show be okay for the channel?
I like the Jan Show. It becomes, what's the content? And you can experiment with different content formats. It could be you sharing your routine or your practices. So if you're talking about hair care or skin care or energy or whatever you feel has made a difference, it could be you just talking direct to camera. It could be you coaching. So it could be like this, just flipped. You're going to be on top and there's going to be somebody else who joins you underneath who says, Jan, I don't know how to whatever. And then you help them. It could be you doing reviews on different products that are like, if you love that company that you're working with, maybe there's 14 products you could be using instead of 2, right? And you get your version of it, you buy one, you use it, you see if you like it, if you can authentically talk about it or not. And if you can, then you do basically product reviews. All of it can work. It's much more about, what do you feel most drawn to? Because the energy behind it really matters. So what kind of content would you like to be making?
I have two different thought processes, and the first one though that I'm more drawn to first, because it's what makes sense to establish me a new life, is to do things where really the whole philosophy is about self-care equaling self-love. And so
Mm-hmm.
that goes into uh, different products that I know, because everything that I would be, promoting, I've actually used for years. So, and so I know for sure, and I can document like the difference in it. But that is what I'm thinking first, but mainly also because that's my challenge. It will challenge me to really push myself. And then later on, I would like to work more again with my hairdresser people and start doing educational teaching haircuts, because I have a philosophy that technique is technique, and it's just A, B, C, D, really, no matter who does it. But then there's some philosophy that I know that I developed from teaching like thousands of young kids.
Mm-hmm.
And to go into that and then get a manufacturer that does the curved scissors and maneuver those in. But I want to do that second, because I think just because I feel like I need something like this, because I really want to be able to not just have to live here.
Mm-hmm.
It's that stage in my life.
Yeah, having your own product line definitely comes second, because you could blow a lot of money on the wrong thing, and if you don't have distribution, there's a lot of headaches that can happen there. I love it. I love the self-care equals self-love. I think it fits. I think you're living it. Now you just have to think in terms of the content.
Mm-hmm.
So now what are we going to post to Instagram? What are we going to post to YouTube? We have our messaging down, which is self-love equals self-care,
Mm-hmm.
all the routines, the products. Do you want to do you just talking to camera, explaining what it means to you, like the philosophy and the mindset? Do you want to be doing product review videos, or do you want to be doing coaching where you're helping somebody figure out their own version of self-love equals self-care?
Well, I mean, I think that to me, to how I've always been most effective is that you kind of like have all of that, because it hits into different. In order to do promotions on the product, I would want to show it, whether it's a little demo. I mean, I have I've been working on creating content, and I have it like in my camera, and to where I have some people that when they do the cleanse, they're really shocked, and I got it live while they were doing it, and it was genuine and honest. And so I feel like I would have to kind of do each of those.
You can, you don't have to. All of them can work.
Yeah.
And all of them can involve the product that you're talking about, right? The difference is,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to talk about mindset, for example, if you're going to talk about, hey, I have more energy now than 20-year-olds, and here's how I do it, right? And it's more showing them what is possible in a mindset video. And inside of there, you're explaining some of your habits, routines, and products that you use, right? That's one style. Another style could be, hey, today I'm going to show you how to use the XYZ product. It's like just product review, and then you inject a little bit of mindset into it where, like, and when I do this, and after I look like this, now I have a lot more self-love because I believe self-care equals self-love. But it's a product review kind of first video,
Right.
where the other one is a mindset first video. And then with coaching, you have somebody on who's struggling with something, and you walk them through it. And if I thought Built to Serve was relevant, I'd hold up Built to Serve, right? So you hold up and walk them through the product if you think it's relevant. All three can work, and all three can involve the product, right? It's just more which one feels the best for you or most authentic, and it could be a mix too. And maybe you kind of have to play with it to get a sense of it so that you start. I think one of the challenges with if you're overly creative is creating structure.
Thank you very much.
So
That
you don't
you just hit the nail on the head.
we, we don't need to give you more creative ideas because you're great at that. We need to give you a little more structure. So that's why, like, okay, we've got 3 potential series. You could run with all 3 of them, but just so that it's easy to get overwhelmed and then feel like, oh, I could take any of these in a million different directions, and then nothing gets actually created, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I like trying to narrow the focus so
Yeah.
that you can, it doesn't mean that you stay there forever, only does one thing forever, but just helps narrow it down to give you clarity and focus to release, to get going, to create. So I've been looking at
that when you worked forever, on your story, when all that time you worked on that presentation, and you lost all that money because then you had like overworked it so long that somebody else had gotten it.
Yeah.
That's hit the nail.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, it's great awareness, and now we fix it. So if I'm you, at least once a week, a new video has to go up. If you're looking at YouTube as your home and Instagram having some content too, but at least once a week on both platforms, a video has to go up.
Okay.
So you can be as creative as you want. I gave you a couple ideas of what you can do, but
that was good.
Having the structure to say at least once a week a video has to go up forces productivity and not just dreaming of what could be.
Moving forward.
Yeah, moving forward in a creative way. Some people struggle with creativity and they don't have enough ideas, right? And so they need more help in brainstorming, right? You could fill a wall full of ideas if we gave you a pen. So now, for you, it's just getting it up. So yeah, that's what I would focus on for you. Inside one of those 3 areas, one video every single week. If you can do more, great, but at least one video every week. And you'll find your flow inside of it. Say, okay, I like that one, but next time I'll do a little tweak and then a little tweak and, continue to change as you go. But I think you've got an important message. I think you've been living it and doing it for a long time already. And now it's time to make it core to what you do and turn it into a business model so you can inspire people and do as much travel as you want and, live the life that you want.
Make the world a better place.
Let's go. I love it. I love it, Jane. Cool. Well, for people who are watching who want to find out more about you, is Instagram the best place, or where do you want them to go?
Instagram is probably the best place. The Jan Show.
The Jan Show. So TheJan and then show SHOW. I love it. Well, welcome aboard, Movement Makers.
I am going to do. I have Jan Allen on Facebook, so I'm going to do some Facebook stuff because I think I'm going to try to form like a little group, a peer group on
huge, huge.
So and my people that I'm reaching out to are conscientiously captivating queens. I think that's what I want to name the group.
Yeah, I like the. It might be a little long, but I like the idea behind it because people feel alone. So anybody who's bought one of your products, for sure, should be in a group, and you're monitoring and you're giving love every day. You're giving love. You're dropping a morning inspiration, something to make them feel connected because they feel isolated, alone, and you're giving them a little bit of, you're breathing energy into their life every day, and them knowing each other is a huge, huge, huge difference, so they don't have to feel like they're all by themselves.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
Jan, I love it. Thank you for the time. I appreciate the introduction and super excited to see where you take this whole thing.
Okay. Well, follow me on Instagram. That way.
At the Jan Show. Let's go.
And that way you can, I'll have accountability.
We need it.
I know.
And you have movement makers too.
I know. Oh, I meant you, but all of these wonderful people, because the breakout session last week, the 3 that were with me were totally amazing.
Honestly, like everything that we're doing inside Movement Makers to build that amazing community, you can replicate, like copy what we're doing and turn that into your version, your tribe, because it's badly needed and you can be the center of it.
Thank you. Now I'm going to, before we cut off, I'm going to try to do a screen grab because then
Okay.
I can put it on my Instagram feed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
and tag you.
All
Okay.
right.
And so if it clicks me off, see the technology, I always think I'm going to do something and lose everything.
Well,
Yeah.
it's the best. If that happens,
And
whatever.
if I
It's all
do,
good.
had a lovely visit, and I thank you so terribly much for it all. And if not, we'll still say goodbye soon.
Amazing. Thank
And
you,
thank
Jen.
you, somebody that said wishing me the best. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Saved, and you're still there.
Hey, all right. All right.
Oh,
Thank you, Jen. Another one. I love it.
right.
Thank you, Jen. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Much love.